You're Sperp back with another video, and I just got done watching Good Burger 2. And if you're a 90s kid like me, you already know how much the original Good Burger means to us 90s kids and how dope that movie was when it came out back in the day. Very interesting movie, kind of looking back at it and how mature that movie actually was. But anyways, going into this, I was kind of skeptical just because it's way too long for a sequel. They probably should have put this out in the early 2000s. I think they waited a bit too long, but I was still optimistic. I'm still optimistic, and going into it, I was just going to think that this was going to be a shit show, cash grab, and it's not all bad. I thoroughly enjoyed majority of this movie. There's some things that were definitely predictable. So let's just kind of start off with what this movie's all about. We see that Dexter now is kind of this really successful business guy. He tries to do these weird, obscure inventions. He tries to make this fireproof house. I forget exactly what he called it, but that ended up just not working at all. Ends up losing everything. Then goes back to Good Burger, and we get reintroduced to Ed, and they have their kind of reunion. And he catches up with Ed, and a lot has changed. You know what I'm saying? We learned that Ed has 8 different kids that are all named after condiments. His older son is played by Alex Hibbert, which was really dope. I wish they did a little bit more with his character, because I think he's a really dope young up-and-coming actor. And we get introduced to Dexter's niece, Mia, which I think she is a really dope character in this. I think that her as an actress definitely has potential. I don't know if I've seen her in anything else, but her and Dexter not kind of seeing eye to eye because of Dexter finessing her mom out of some money and her losing all her money in the process, which leads her to work at Good Burger. You know what I'm saying? So that stuff is kind of fascinating. Now, Dexter's in an interesting position because he is pretty much almost going back to his old ways in the first one, where he was just kind of using Ed to kind of get some more money. And to an extent, it's a little different here because you have this character that is played by Little Rel, that is the lawyer for this big mega corporation, Megacorp, and he's just trying to get Ed to sign off on the ownership of Good Burger so they can turn it into a franchise. But Ed is not budging because he loves Good Burger. This is all he knows. This is his livelihood. It's what makes him happy. And one thing leads to it next, where Dexter is just thinking about just getting back his money. So with Ed and Dexter being good friends, Dexter's the only one that can kind of convince Ed to kind of sign these papers to kind of give the rights over to Megacorp. And it's successful, but they didn't render fine print, obviously. So now everybody's kind of shit out of a job. Nobody has a job, and they pretty much get finessed. And they have to kind of figure out a way to get back control of Good Burger and take down this mega Good Burger. And this is where things kind of take a dip for me, because I saw this coming. As far as the villain is obviously Kurt's little sister, and I'm pretty sure everybody could have predicted that just based on looking at the trailer. Obviously, she was going to have some type of relationship to Kurt, and that's where it kind of takes a dip. I was really rocking with the first half of this movie. Not to say that there's not some things that were interesting towards the end, because there definitely was. I just think that the villain or the antagonist of this was just too predictable and just not that very interesting, where I understand like she's trying to turn this whole franchise of Good Burger into like an automated fast food franchise. It's just the execution just felt very rushed and very lackluster is the way I could describe it. That third act was just very much felt rushed. For it being an hour and 30 minutes, the first like 45 minutes were really solid, and then we kind of just have to rush through certain plots and little things and whatnot. But it's really dope to see Kenan and Kel back on the big screen, or in this case on streaming, and just them working together and seeing just how far they have come individually, and seeing that Kel is really in his bag when he is Ed, or when he's playing Kel and Kenan and Kel. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't really miss a beat at all. And I was laughing. He had me laughing all throughout this movie, just the dumb shit he was doing. Kenan also, as Dexter, was really dope, because you really see how far his character has come compared to the first movie, where he almost kind of dips back into his old ways, but he kind of also takes ownership of messing things up and trying to make things right between Ed, and not only Ed but his family. So there's a lot of interesting things that they kind of play around with. Now, I do still think that this sequel took too long to come out, and it definitely shows. You know, looking at Kel, it definitely shows. But like I said, I still felt like this movie was entertaining. Surprisingly entertaining. I thought it was just going to be a lot of cheap shit, and you know what I'm saying, other than the lackluster villain, the predictability, and a lot of just how that played out, it was really dope. It was really fun even to see the newer characters, you know what I'm saying, even though some of them kind of get sidelined. But it was cool. It was just cool to kind of catch up with these characters. I wonder if they want to make a Good Burger 3. I don't think they should, you know what I'm saying, because it's like you're just going to be redundant at this time. But I would recommend checking this out for yourself. If you get around to watching it, how do you feel about it? Because I personally don't think this is anywhere close to the first Good Burger, but it's not necessarily all bad. That's just my take on this movie. Let me know how you guys feel about it. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.